Hi, Peter Matthews with Firehouse.com. We're here on the fifth and final day of Firehouse Expo. We're going to look at some of the events that took place today on Saturday. We're also going to have a special look at the piece of steel that arrived from the World Trade Center via motorcycle escort from New York to Maryland today. And we're going to talk to some of the instructors as well as some of the attendees. For full coverage, check out Firehouse.com. We have a dedicated landing page with articles, videos, and a slideshow showing all the events from this week. We're out in front of the Baltimore Convention Center where the piece of steel from the World Trade Center just arrived. We've got two of the folks who are involved with the process, including the drive down from New York. Can you both tell me your names and how you're involved with with today's events?
Kevin McLaughlin, Fire Family Transport.
Frank Ancona, retired Fire Department New York, also with Fire Family Transport Foundation.
And can you tell me how this process evolved to get the piece of steel down here and where the steel from New York is going?
Well, over the past 4 years, we've been taking steel to various venues: Shanksville, Pennsylvania, Arlington, Virginia, Fort Benning, Georgia, and Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. And we got involved with Baltimore. They wanted a piece of steel, and we decided that they should have a piece. We set this up about a year ago, and our foundation and the Baltimore Fire Department put this whole run together, and it came to fruition today. And obviously Kevin McLaughlin brought the steel down, and I led it with engine 343 to get into the convention center.
And can you tell me a little bit about 343 and also with the motorcycles and everything else? I mean, what was the logistics of getting the piece of steel here today? And obviously it was a huge tribute coming down. So can you tell me a little bit about the logistics with that?
Well, the logistics of bringing the steel down here is we had to have somebody to run the event. And we had Warren Fuchs, who's a retired dispatcher. He put it all together for us. And of course, we had to go through all the state agencies from New York all the way down to Maryland, with their police departments, with their state police, with the toll authorities, and all of us in the foundation had a little responsibility, a job to do in order to put this together. So that's how it all came about. Engine 343 is a 51 Mack pumper that was given to us after 9/11 from a fire department in North Carolina. We had it restored in honor of the 343 brothers we lost at 9/11, and this is our pride and joy of the Fire Family Transport Foundation. It's used as a ceremonial apparatus, various parades, various ceremonies, and ventures as we are right now. It's been all over the country. It went on every one of our steel runs. And I've been involved with the Fire Family Transport since about 2005, and very happily and privileged and humbled to do it.
So you had this precious cargo on the back of the truck to honor the firefighters and the civilians that were killed that day. What was it like to be driving the truck that had it on the back, and what did you see coming down? I mean, you went through how many states, and tell us what you saw.
Well, we left the Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn at 7 o'clock, drove police escorted the whole way through New York, through New Jersey, into Delaware, where we stopped at the Mike's Famous Harley, and then the Baltimore fire riders and police met us there and escorted us the rest of the way up. And the whole trip was great. You know, over every overpass there were fire departments lined up, you know, cheering us on and saluting the piece of steel the whole way.
I'm here with Larry Manasco from Fort Worth Fire Rescue. He talked today about a Mayday Instant that he was involved in last January, January 2010. Larry, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Can you basically take us through what you talked about today and basically what you went through during the Mayday?
Okay. Well, the class name was Anatomy of a Mayday, and I just wanted to break down a Mayday into all its different components and everything that happened to us. And I kind of predicated on the domino effect. And what I wanted to do was show all the different dominoes that fell. And on this fire, it began with just waking up in a daze like we've all done before, about 2 a.m. in the morning, and thinking I was on the correct fire channel, which was our primary fire channel, when in fact this was on a secondary fire channel because we already had a working fire going. And that just kind of led to everything else that happened. We got into a fire and we wound up having a collapse. I called the Mayday. There were 7 of us trapped inside, and the Mayday was on the wrong channel. And unfortunately, it went out on the primary fire channel, and that fire that was working was actually in the overhaul stage. And so they weren't paying real close attention to their radios, and the ball kind of got dropped with our dispatch. But I don't blame them because I've made so many mistakes on that fire that I have nobody to blame for this but myself. And that's what I wanted to do, is just walk everybody through, show them the mistakes that I made, all the little things that happened, all these little dominoes falling, and eventually it led to this, and us being inside, being on the wrong channel, and being lucky to have gotten out.
You've really stepped up and basically talked about a lot of your mistakes and admitted them to everybody, and like you said, to your department back home. How do you think the culture has to change in the fire service where firefighters can feel okay to actually admit what they did wrong?
Well, I think we always talk about the brotherhood. Everybody talks about the brotherhood, and I think we need to get a little better about. I always say that we eat our own, and guys don't want to admit that something went wrong because they're afraid they're just going to get beat down by their brother firefighters, and we need to be careful about that. We need to have a culture that allows us to speak about our mistakes and learn from them, and just because you make a mistake doesn't make you a bad firefighter. It just makes you human. I think what sets you apart is being able to admit them, and then to get out and talk about them, and do everything you can to let everybody know, and so that hopefully something that you say, and that's the ultimate goal, hopefully something that I've said will affect somebody that was in the class or somebody that hears the class to realize that they're doing something, and maybe that'll prevent that domino from falling, and all you need to do is stop one, and maybe that saves a life.
Okay, we're down on the show floor, and we found a firefighter who's been here. This is his second time at Firehouse Expo. Can you tell me your name and what department you're from?
Ron Osadis from Morganville.
Okay,
It's in New Jersey, Monmouth County.
Okay, and you've been to the show before, correct?
Yeah, last year, just once. My second time.
So tell me about some of the stuff you've done this week, the classes, walking around the exhibit floor, some of the lessons you've learned, and some of the products and other equipment that you've seen that you've liked.
Last year we did some of the different classes. I don't even remember which ones we took. We did it as a fire company. This year I just did the expo, walked around. It's really all hands-on stuff, which is pretty neat, right up my alley. The video game was pretty cool. The fire company video game, the driving simulator was pretty cool.
All right, cool. And were you looking to purchase any equipment, or are you just kind of here to see what's available for your department?
We're looking for I was looking personally for a pair of new gloves, different gloves. The ones I have at home, the Dexterity is kind of crappy. He's actually a commissioner with the fire company, so we're here looking for things for the whole fire company, different Scott packs and stuff like that.
I'm Heather here at Firehouse Expo, speaking to Washington, D.C. Fire Department PIO Pete Perringer. Hi, Pete.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. It's having a great time here. We had a great crowd this morning, Saturday morning. We were talking about social media, had a great panel. Kurt Ferrone from the NFPA, and of course he's from Rhode Island. Dave Statter from Statter 911. Former journalist in the Washington, D.C. area, Bill Delaney from Montgomery County, and myself had a presentation, a very live discussion taking place about social media and the fire service. And we had the opportunity to talk about some of the legal aspects and what each of us are doing. And it was great. It was a good interaction. We had a great crowd in there, and things went pretty well, so it was pretty exciting.
Excellent. Any particular tips or stories you can just quickly share with our viewers?
Well, yeah, there was all kinds of great information on there, but I guess one of the biggest things as far as the social media, we all know it's changing and there's so many things to talk about, but it was particularly interesting, I thought, from the legal perspective that Kurt brought to the table about, talking about the social media policies and even the digital imagery, or taking the photographs. He had some really good advice. He has a website, of course, and I think you can go to firehouse.com and get all that type of information. But if great information, and just really good food for thought. We all talked about things that we're doing in our departments. Many people talked about things, some horror stories, but some things that are going well as far as using the internet and getting the information out there. But we all know that there are so many social journalists out there today, and there are cameras everywhere, and that can be good. But the title of our presentation was "A Blessing or a Curse," or an opportunity and a curse. So we were able to talk about all that stuff. So it was really good interaction.
Thank you very much, Pete.
And we're here with show manager Ed Nichols as we wrap up Firehouse 2011. Ed, can you tell us a little bit about the last day here?
Absolutely, Pete. We've got a great show. We had a great show, 3 days here, really centered around 9/11 and the memory of the fallen firefighters at the World Trade Center. We just had the steel beam from the World Trade Center that's being delivered to the Baltimore Fire Department delivered. Very emotional, great event down here. We're excited to be back next year, July 19th to the 21st. We'll be back here in Baltimore. Great show, great things. That's all I can say.
Okay, again, we have full coverage at firehouse.com. Look for the Firehouse Expo landing page, and we'll see you here next year in Baltimore.